look, Vaush is arguing with Big Joel as well. Looks like everyone's going after the Big Joel shorts. Holy shit. Vaush versus Big Joel. Let's do that. They're arguing about de-radicalization. Well, not really arguing, but let's see.
What is this little Joel video? Here, it's 4 minutes.
About, hey everybody, so I've always had kind of a trepidation about the concept of de-radicalization. For those who don't know, in like 2017 to 2019, there emerged a group of YouTubers who people started calling bread tubers, and I was one of them. I was to some extent one of them. I was like a D-list bread tuber. And the main thing about bread tubers, like one of the main sales pitches of breadtube, was de-radicalizing people, making people not radical. And I always hated it. I always hated that. I always saw this claim being made of my work and thought to myself, that ain't true. I'm not de-radicalizing shit. But the thing is, I was never able to put my finger on why I didn't like this word until now, until like 5 minutes ago. And then I scrambled at my phone to make this video, like a little content.
I'm gonna guess a couple of things. I don't know. Getting de-radicalized by content, maybe. No, I don't know. Lots of my fucking videos get people in the comments or emails and messages being like, this changed my mind about this thing. I'm like, nice, cool. Or this video helped me de-radicalize someone else on this thing. I wonder if I can just like, I think I didn't find one from like a couple of days ago. Yeah, from the Vaush Discord. This video helped me de-radicalize my mum from being a TERF. Nice. It's not hard to find these. Yeah, they're all over the place. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. But I think maybe one criticism you can make, and I know ContraPoint said this, was that especially if you're like a lefty person and you de-radicalize someone with content, is you might not have really targeted the thought process that made them radical. You've only just kind of, they were sold on an aesthetic sort of thing that was presented to them, and you've just made something that was aesthetically better, and then they gone that way, which can also be a problem of you don't really de-radicalize them, you only re-radicalize them. You only send them into some insane like cult or of like leftist dogma instead of right-wing dogma, which is not bad. It's better to be a left-wing dogmatist than a right-wing one, I think, but it's not really great either, I don't think. So maybe that's a thing. And I think it's probably the case, like I know Vaush talks about having a lot of like former Nazis in his audience and whatever the fuck else. And I feel like maybe some people who got de-radicalized by Vaush, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them were like, they weren't really turned over by the quality of arguments more so than what Vaush is like really good at, which is that whole like the aesthetics of strength and this like big cult of personality thing. So they're not really like, the level with which they critically examine the world is not really changed. It's just kind of moved from one like father figure to another, you know? But I don't know. I think de-radicalizing, like, it's a very big beefsteak leftist. Yeah, I think it's like a very grandiose term, de-radicalizing. But I don't know, changing people's minds, I think is, or just dislodging. That's what I like to think of it. I think I can't change people's minds on anything. I don't think, not really. I think what I can do is like dislodge ideas. I don't know. I'm trying to find other ones that kind of stuck out to me. I think there was one that was from a content creator. Where the was it? Hang on. That deplatforming one that I did was probably, as far as left-wingers go, I think that was like, I was really surprised by the amount of people who were kind of convinced by that one. But there was a creator actually who said, oh yeah, oh my god, yeah, this was on my my deplatforming one. It's a YouTuber here. Not to be a Steven Crowder, but you changed my mind. Oh, that was really cool. But not saying that's de-radicalizing, but why did someone just send me the sun face? Big Joel stole this look. Okay, nice one.
Weasel. So here's the thing. whenever people talk about de-radicalizing, whenever people claim that work like mine de-radicalize them, I always feel this inner angst inside of me, this ghost, that tells me that when people are using the word radical, when they talk about falling down the alt-right pipeline, in many cases, not all, but many cases, what they're talking about is that they, as a 14-year-old boy, watched anti-SJW YouTubers on the internet. That they watched a bunch of cringy anti-SJW YouTubers who said a bunch of lame shit about women and minorities, who enjoyed them, who enjoyed how edgy they were, and who were starting to enjoy that sort of thing. And I gotta be honest with you, I think many of the people for whom this is the case...
When does it get drawn? We're almost halfway through, and this is just set up. When does it...
They just kind of grew up. They just kind of...
Chill, Vaush. Holy shit.
Kind of grew up. One day, they looked at Sargon of Akkad and they said, oh, this guy is the stupidest man I've ever seen in my life. Oh, this man is the absolute dumbest human being I've ever seen in my life. And what's more, he's very lame. Like, he's lame and dumb. And you saw that. You were mature enough to see this fact about him. And then you stopped being into it. You stopped being into it. It was a phase. It was a phase where you were watching YouTube content. You know what I mean? And here's the...
Man, I wish I lived in a world where adults could look at an anti-SJW's video and have the maturity to go, wow, this is stupid and dumb. Man, I wish I lived in that world. That'd be amazing. I often watch right-wing videos and think, adults fall for this? But the answer is, I mean, they do, right? Yeah. You know, it's I wish they didn't. That'd be nice.
The thing. I'm not trying to illegitimize anybody's political story. I'm not trying to tell you that you're worse or a shitty person because you liked Gamergate in 2016. Like, yes, obviously that sucked. But we can get over that. We can get over that together. But my problem with the narrative of de-radicalization is that it almost causes us to legitimize these political identities. That it treats a 14-year-old boy who is surfing 4chan and watching Sargon of Akkad and Teal Deer as like a real legitimate, meaningful political identity. And it isn't one.
Do we not think conservatives are, though? Because a lot of these people have, like Sargon doesn't just make obscure internet arguments. He was, like, one of the big voices on the internet for anti-immigration and, like, grooming gang stuff, right? Like, that was... He's not just a mouthpiece of weird 14-year-old cringe. Like, I don't think it has that much effect in the real world. Not yet, but... I don't know, I feel like I don't really know what Joel is going for there. It's not, yeah, it's assuming that, you know, Sargon has had real life rallies where people who are over the age of 18 turn up. Sargon was not in a Christchurch manifesto. What the fuck are you talking about? But when you see like Sargon at like the UKIP rallies, like these people who supported, hang on, where is it? Like, here. Is this it? I'm just looking for just one good picture, please. Like, these people who turned up to Sargon's, like, speaking events when he was with UKIP, these weren't all 14-year-olds. These are adults. These are adults who like what he's saying. Maybe they're less likely to get their minds changed, but even then, I don't know, because whenever I get like, oh, you changed my mind thing, it comes from a pretty varied age group. I'd imagine it's mostly young people, but
It didn't add up to anything. If you just had some shitty thoughts from YouTube videos that you saw, that's what happened. That's what happened.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably being a little bit naive here, I think.
He's also acting like it's just a natural progression, right? Like, it's just natural that you become a cringe right-winger when you're 14 and then you see alternative content that changes your mind and you just shift over. Is he saying that that would have happened even if the alternative content wasn't there? I feel like if kids are getting their politics from YouTube, it probably does help that for every right-wing dipshit on the internet, there's a left-winger pushing back on them.
On this issue.
If we weren't there, though, if it was just all right-wingers on YouTube, which it kind of was like before 2016, then yeah, everyone on YouTube was fucking right-wing. Full staff, thanks for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that.
or maybe like very naive. Um, yeah, like obviously, you know, there are people who grow out of it, but there are a lot of people who just fall into this shit when you're young, and then you stay in it because it's not like adult reactionary politics are less dumb. Like are we implying that like there are no adult reactionaries? There are tens of millions of them in America, and the stuff they listen to and watch are really dumb. So you do in fact kind of grow into that. I mean, yeah, they have baby brain, but they've not been alive for 14 years. Um, Got to be careful about them getting in young, right? Because that's like the easiest time to kind of bias a person's politics in a really stupid direction.
Happened to you. And I worry that this narrative of radicalization toward the right, followed by de-radicalization, kind of causes us to not just be able to sit with the fact that in our past, when we were teenagers, we were just cringe little guys. You were just a cringe guy who liked cringy content and made edgelord jokes and sucked ass. That's what you were. You know, for some of you, that's what you were. On some level, you just gotta live with that now. You gotta own that part of yourself, that for everyone does. That 14-year-old inside of you who's just sucked ass, who everyone hated, and who you hated yourself, everyone hated you and you hated yourself, you were lame and everyone hated
That's
you.
me.
And that's the truth. Because you sucked. Because you sucked then. I am genuinely happy and moved when I
But
see...
that said, even when I believed like right-wing bullshit when I was 14, 15, the reason I didn't like I mean, maybe I would have pulled out of it eventually, but like at some point the reason I stopped believing that stuff was because other people told me other things that were different from it. Like I had other teachers in my life besides the fucking freaks in my fucking Warcraft guild, you know? And if I didn't though, what could have happened? What if like that's the thing is if you're 14 or 15 and you are getting sort of like flirted with by that's my best way to put it by these weird like right-wing channels and you're getting fucking like molded by that. Well, what if there is no pushback from the other end and that's all you hear until you turn 18 and then 19 and 20? And at that point, you're much more fixed in your views and it's going to be harder to dislodge what you think. So, yeah.
See people developing politically in certain ways because of things I say. And again, I'm not trying to shame anybody in my audience, but at some point, I really think it does benefit us to be able to sit with ourselves and say, I wasn't going on some big political journey. I sucked. I sucked ass. I think there's power in that. A power that is not caught by the word de-radicalize.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like the left's version of praying the problem away. I mean, I know some people do grow up out of it. I'm not disagreeing with that. It just seems more like...
Question is, why do they grow out of it? Is it just natural? Is there just something natural about human development that makes you more left-wing when you get older? Like the left-wing part of your brain turns on quicker than the right wing, like later than the right wing? I don't know. Well, no, it's because there are external influences and you get taught better ways. And
like, I don't know why we would like
and one of those external influences is left-wing YouTubers.
Drop our analysis of this as a specific political on-road point when it so obviously is.
Okay, well done, Joe. Education, yeah. That was fun though. That was a fun little bit. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing I do like about Big Joel, even though I completely disagree with what he said there. I feel like Big Joel always like puts. He's always he tends to think about what he's saying. It doesn't sound like I never get the vibe from Big Joel that he's just like repeating dogma. You know, like a lot of other bread tubers seem to give me like they seem to look like they're doing that. He seems to, even though that's something I disagree. Like, yeah, it seems that he's actually like me. Am I starting so much? Yeah, it sounds like he's just sat down and thought of this thing, and it's kind of like, and yeah, I think it's good that he has like the courage to just put that out there as well. It reminds me of like Kidology. Although I disagree with so much of what Kidology says, the fact that she does just think about her positions and then says them, rather than adopting something because she feels like she has to, or because she just watched a video and like passively absorbed it and then just believes it uncritically or some shit. Yeah. I think what's actually worth thinking about when it comes to the de-radicalizing when it comes to the de-radicalizing narrative or people getting their political education from YouTube videos and video essays, one thing I thought about that I might try to, I don't know what to do with this thought, but I wonder how often people watch video essays about a topic and probably feel like they've learned a lot, but then you ask them what they learned from that video essay and they wouldn't be able to explain it back to you. Does that happen quite often? I feel like it does. This is like a completely separate point, but I like, no, it's not actually, because I wonder with the de-radicalization thing is maybe a lot of what looks like de-radicalization from videos on YouTube is that basically they were entertained by a right winger and then a left winger just came in and entertained them better. They just got more, and that was like ContraPoints again, and Philosophy Tube were very aware of that because all of the right wing channels around 2014, 15, 16 was just like some absolute shithead and if under a white fluorescent light, just kind of like screaming about bullshit, being very incoherent, badly edited, like not very creative. And then people like ContraPoints come in with these like really incredible shows, and it's very articulate and it's very well worded. And yeah, like if you're especially like a young guy who likes to feel smart by consuming videos, you'll be more convinced by the ones like by the breadtuber ones because they were just better. They were just better put together. But it does make me wonder if you're actually learning anything by doing that, or if you are just passively consuming.